John here, and today I am installing a great new product from Scotty. I can't wait to put it on. It's a Scotty Seeker. It's actually goes on your downrigger weight, and it's going to measure your temperature, the depth that the line or depth that the weight's at, the speed that the weight's at. So it's gonna do a bunch of cool things, and it's really fast. It's supposed to update every 2 seconds. So you can get down there and look and figure out where the thermocline is. You can figure out how fast your lure is trolling. And we know that Scotty and Airmar got together on this project, and you're going to get some good stuff. So this is the box, and then what came in the box we're getting ready to install. First off is going to be a transducer. Well, it's not really a transducer. They call it a hydrophone, but anybody that's seen these before will recognize this as a Airmar P66 body. Okay, it doesn't have a speed wheel on it. It locks in here. They're pretty easy to mess with. So I just put this together. It'll come in pieces. I'm gonna do is attach a video that shows you how to take this off, because you need to put it together first to be able to mark it where you want it on the boat. And the video kind of show you have to insert a couple screwdrivers here to pop this piece back out again to mount it, and then hook it back up again. So we'll kind of cover that. So this is the receiver. So it's called a hydrophone. Doesn't need to be mounted like a normal transducer, okay? Because we're not worried about sending a signal down. We're just gonna be receiving it, and you're only gonna be doing it when you're trolling anyway. So I plan to mount mine just a little higher on the back of the boat and get it up out of the water, so there's nothing gonna interfere with creating a wake on it. I don't have to worry about any kind of interference. Again, you could even mount it with the slightly back, because your downriggers are gonna be down, and it's just gonna return this. The probe itself is what's gonna send the signal back to this, so that's kind of cool. All right, so speaking of the probe, this is what they look like. This is the part that goes on your weight, and it comes with the breakaway. So you'll have this that mounts on the bottom, that goes to your weight, and then on top will go to your downrigger. All right, it works on anybody's downrigger. It's not just you don't have to worry about just having a Scotty. You can put it on any downrigger. It has measures right on it. When you look at it, you can see it. It tells you what the charge is on it. It comes with a charging port. Looks like this. It just sits inside here, kind of like that, and it charges pretty quick. And once it's fully charged, you get 100 hours on it. If you're running short on time, you put it in there for 10 minutes, you're gonna get I think it's like 10 hours. So it charges up pretty fast. So it'll work well for you when you're fishing. It's gonna transmit #1 position. They're gonna give you can run 4 of these on there. If you had 4 downriggers, you wanna run 1 on each one. And this setup, I'm gonna run 2. So I have one #4 or #1, so I can tell them apart. I always put #1 is gonna be the fastest signal. So that one's gonna go on, and what it does is it'll transmit up to the box, goes to the transducer pops into the Seeker box. Okay, so you have power, you have your transducer, and that's gonna come into here, and this is gonna send a Wi-Fi signal out to your phone. You'll have an app on your phone that you can actually see the depth and the temperature, and all that information will display on the Scotty app for the Seeker. Okay, so we'll be doing that down the road. Today we're just gonna get it installed, then we'll take it out and play with it, and we'll show you some more video. So the other thing it does, it will interface with the MFD. So in this case, we're gonna use a Lowrance. So I had to get a couple additional parts. One is a RJ45 connector, okay? This is basically gonna take it from this connection here. I'm gonna plug it into there. This is gonna have an Ethernet cable. I think most people have seen these before. This is gonna go from here and go back up to the unit. So, and then from there, you'll be able to pick up the data right on your screen of your Lowrance or your Simrad unit. All right, so that's how that's gonna work. And let's see what we got left. That's pretty much it. So we're kind of excited. We're gonna go get this sucker mounted. So we'll take a look at a transducer, or excuse me, of a hydrophone mounting location on the back of the boat, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm in the back of my 27-foot North River OS. I got twins, as you can see down here already. I got 2 transducers, so I have a 1 kilowatt and then a 3-in-1 HD transducer here. And I kind of want to get it where it's going to receive, and you can see I got the motors turned to make sure it wasn't going to hit anything. And to me, this looks like the best spot. So like I said, normally a transducer, you're going to put it down here, but since this is actually a hydrophone, I'm actually going to mount it up a little higher, because I don't want to worry about having to hit it with anything, and it's not going to interfere with any of the others because it uses a different frequency anyway, and it's just receive. So I'm going to put it here, and then I'm going to run this up and probably put the box somewhere about midships, maybe in my rear aft station. So we'll see how it goes, but we're going to go ahead and get started on it and see what we can do. Okay, so I've used the backing plate, actually the wedge, to make drill my holes. So I got 2 holes drilled, and I just got done tapping them. Of course, you guys with the fiberglass boats don't have to worry about this, but they're tapped across. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of the transducer piece, and I'm going to pull that out and use a couple of washers to put both my screws in. Then I'm going to mount this part to the hydrophone back of on the P66 housing. So once that's in, then I just go ahead and snap in the rest of it. It locks into this little groove here. It goes through these little teeth on the side there. I don't know if you can see them, but pops in there, and then the transducer will go on. We'll have that done, and then I'm just going to follow my wiring up here and take it up and follow my other transducers and take that up through the bulkhead of the back of the boat. All right, so that's where we're at. Okay, so I got my hydrophone mounted. It's all ready to go. And like I said, I just followed that up, brought it up with my other transducers up across, and basically it just comes around and enters in the boat here. All my cables come across and they go in through that waterproof connection there, and it's running up to the front of the boat. Okay, so we've got everything wired up now. So I've wired basically I've taken my hydrophone and I've wired it up. I brought everything into here. So this is my rear console. So my Scotty hub is now mounted up on the side, up inside of here. So it gets some protection. I've already checked the Bluetooth connection to make sure that I can receive it on my phone, and that wasn't an issue at all. So now I got it waterproofed in my cabinet, and everything's there. I ran power from the front of the boat from my power panel and put a fuse on it, ran it back to here. So this turns on, it's ready to go. The other thing I did was, we were talking about the RJ45 plug. I plugged that into here and I ran an Ethernet cable up to a NEP2, which is in the front of the boat, which is basically an expansion unit. If you don't have a NEP2 or you just want to run it, you can just plug it into the yellow plug in the back of the sonar in the back of the unit on your MFD for your basically Lowrance, Simrad, and Garmin. One of those 3 it'll work on there. And then after that, once I plugged it in, it dropped the Scotty app up here. So you can see the Seeker app is already on the screen. So when I hit this, it's going to open up and it's already going to show me I have 2 probes set up, probe 1 and probe 2. And of course, they're not going to work until we put the probe in the waters, when it actually will turn on and show it. I can come into my system menu and set it up. I can assign my probes. Right now I have one on the left port side and one on the right starboard side on the stern of the boat. If I wanted to add another one, I just program that probe and put it whatever position I want, maybe center off the back of the boat or however I'm going to do it. So it gives you lots of options. Of course, you can do, feet, miles per hour, Fahrenheit, whatever you want it to read in, salt water, and then of course English. So it's pretty much ready to go. What I'll do now is, when we get out on the water, you have to program these. I got to put in, there's basically a number on here. There's a set number, and then each one of these has its own number up here. When you program, it's going to change this number. In order to do that, you're going to have to put it in the charger, and the charger is going to be plugged into your, any cell phone connection kind of deal. And I happen to have that on the boat, so I'm just going to do it out on the water when we get out there. So with that, we are going to go ahead and get this baby out on the water, and then we'll go ahead and continue with the rest of the setup for it. Okay, when you're setting up your probes, you notice how this one says 1, this one says 2. When you're doing your probe setup, you put this in the charger and then go ahead into the app on the phone, and you're going to want to make sure that you have 1 is always going to be your lead one, and number 2, you change it. If they come with 2 1s on it, just change 1 to 2 when you're in the setup mode, configuring your probes. You don't want 2 number 1s or 2 number 2s. That's going to give you problems with the way it reads. It won't read correctly. So make sure if you're running, each probe will have a different number assigned to it. And this changes. So when this came, this was a 1 and a 1. So I just changed this to number 2 and then assigned it to the correct position on the boat. The way we did this to make it easy for us is we have a dropper down below. You can see that it comes up and stops. And then we've tied this into our snubber here to our weight. So we got a little bit of clearance. So if we do hit the bottom, everything's up above it a little bit, including my gear. And then that's up above even that. So that's kind of how we rig them up. Okay, so we're out here on the boat and we're testing the Scotty Seeker a little bit. If you look, we got it all set up now. So if we look over here, I can read it on my phone. So I got it in a Scotty phone holder, which works pretty good. You can read it this way. I can change it to look at both of them. There's the starboard one, there's the port one. It's giving me my temperature, my depth, and my speed on each one. So I can see this one's running about 179, this one's running about 221. If you look up here, I've got it networked to the Lowrance unit through an Ethernet cable. And I got here, I'm reading both of them at the same time. And down here, you can see that there's one downrigger right here, running just above 200 feet, and then one running about 250. So you can actually drop these in right where you're fishing. The nice thing about them too is I don't even look at the counter anymore. I just look at this. I just look up here when I'm dropping it down, and I can get it precisely to the depth I want. So if I pick out a fish at 200 feet, I'm going to drop it to 200 feet. So it's kind of a neat deal. And you can assign them any position you want. If you go on here to, if I was to open this up on the Scotty app right here, which drops on the thing, you can see I have them both right here. If I hit system, I can actually assign them. So I have probe 1 assigned to the stern on the port side, and on the starboard side I have probe 2 assigned there. I've got it in Fahrenheit, feet, miles per hour, salt water, and then of course English. So if you check it out, you know, we'll be at the boat show, at Seattle Boat Show coming up. It's going to be a good time to take a look at it. It's a pretty good system. I think it's going to be excellent for salmon fishing. Anytime you want to fish a thermocline, kokanee guys, anybody that's going to be fishing, it'll be a pretty good way to target fish. All right, so check out the Scotty Seeker at your local sporting goods store, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.